what's up? Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good?
So let's get into this. I want to have a conversation about business, social media, investing, different things of that nature. And it's very rare that we get to talk to somebody from the UK. I think this is the first time on Market Monday.
Yeah.
Wow.
That we've ever spoken to anybody.
I love that.
Yeah.
EYL, we spoke to a few people in the past, but Market Mondays, I think this is the first time.
Series of episodes, but it's important that the first time be the right time. Yeah. And the right person is here.
Yeah. For sure.
That's what I want to hear.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the business of influencers and how you generate income online, because you have a lot of followers, you have a large following, but we always hear the stories of people that have followers and they don't make any money. They don't know how to figure it out. They got millions of followers on TikTok, millions of followers on Instagram, and they're struggling financially, but you've been able to actually turn that into a business. So how have you been able to turn social media influencer into a business, and how have you been able to generate income online?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been creating online for like 10 years now. So I didn't start as an influencer. There wasn't really a roadmap or like a specific business model. But what I did know is that there was something in it when I started, because number one, I was able to build an audience and I was able to grow slow and steady. I won't say that I went to millions straight away, 10 years in the game. And then I realized that more and more brands were reaching out. But when I started, I wasn't really that strategic about it because I was also still working a job. So I actually worked in finance, I worked in banking, and like my degrees in accounting. So because I had like quite a prestige job, I wasn't that focused on like the online thing as much, but I could see that something was there and more brands would like reach out to me to do work. And I think a lot of creators are creating stuff either for free or for clout, or not necessarily like aligning it to what kind of brands or companies they want to work with. And in the beginning, I wasn't that strategic. So I was like doing little things here and there, not really knowing what the budgets actually looked like or knowing really what the potential was. Because there was no one was telling you anything when I started. So eventually, I think I was doing more and more. And I think when I got more publicity and people were more aware of me, and I could just see that there were other people in the industry who seemed to be doing quite well, I was like, what's going on here? So I found out from someone who actually shared to me about basically how much money they were making. And I was shocked because I was making like a tenth of what that person was making, but we were at the same level. And I think at that point in time, I made the decision to kind of like, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to strategize. I'm going to be very clear about my brand and the brands that I'm aligned to, and then making sure that I, am working and getting paid what my value was. So it's just been me creating content, but very strategically to really kind of make sure that I'm getting what I'm worth and just working with the right brands that actually have the income to pay. So some people might make content in, say, a category that is, let's say, dog food, like your dogs are getting a ton of content and they get loads of views. But if brands that are aligned to dogs don't have any budget, then you can have all the views in the world, but you're not going to actually be able to make any money. So I'm aligned to the beauty industry and the beauty industry specifically, because they have resources and they pay a lot for creators who are in beauty. Fashion does not pay as much. So I balance the amount of fashion content I make. Again, I'm also in the finance industry because it's something I'm really interested in. I love, and I have an accounting degree and worked in finance for 7 years. So then now brands love someone like me who's able to talk on these subject matters with conviction and knowledge. And so then I'm also able to monetize with those brands who also have big budgets as well. So that's a little bit about how I've kind of worked through this to make money.
That's a lot of games. So in that strategizing, how did you come up with the actual brands that you were going to target to say, all right, these are the ones that have the budget, I'm aligning with them? Like, was there a database or was like some type of search that you did to find them? Or you was like, I'm just going to trial and error this thing?
Listen, there's no benchmark. I didn't know what an agency was, an advertising agency. I didn't know the difference between a PR agency. I didn't know who was big, who was not big. So again, it's this game of trial and error. And also it's about knowing the names as well. So now if, say, a company like Hill & Knowlton come over, I know that they manage P&G Brands. P&G Brands are $1 billion company. So I know they're the ones I'm going to talk to. If it's some small agency with some random person and some new brand that doesn't have any budget, I won't necessarily talk to them as much, depending on what the product is. But it's taken me a while to just understand like who's a mover and shaker in the industry, in the marketing agencies, to really get those connections. But also, I've made assumptions that somebody or an email wasn't that important at one point in time, and actually securing massive deals because I had no idea who that person was, and they were actually someone very valuable. So it's still important to kind of be open to everyone.
So if you had to start over, let's say in 2023, you had no followers, and I'm not wishing that, so we're gonna pray to God you only 10x from here. But if you had to start over in 2023 and had to grow your following back to the millions, what are like the 4 or 5 steps you would take to get there in this new digital environment?
So I would focus on a target group that I want to like talk to. Am I talking to young mums? Am I talking to older mums? Am I talking to Black women? Am I talking to, you know, men who are really into boxing or boxing shoes? So I would really niche down like the category of people that I'm wanting to talk to, and I'd make them my go-to group. And then I would think about how to make content that's super entertaining by bringing stuff that is current. I can't even give an explanation of how I would do it, but like if something was happening now, so something viral happening or something's happening in the news, I would like make sure I make content around that, but align it to my group as well. So so these young mums are interested in what's happening with the government, not that they are, but how does that relate to them? So I would kind of mesh my niche with what's trending as well. And I was saying this earlier, for me, I think the game really is about volume. So literally being present on every single platform all the time. Like there's no time to breathe. Like, if you want to start from zero, there's no time to breathe for 2 years straight. Like, don't do anything else but make content.
What you said is actually, that's what we did as far as the whole original mission statement for Earn Your Leisure was to blend pop culture with business. So we take a traditional subject matter like business, but then we still do, but especially back then we were using the most trending, popular things in our culture. So we would talk about like, even before Earn Your Leisure, like breaking down 50 Cent's vitamin water deal, like breaking it down and making it, you know, talking about Beyonce, like, you know, when she talked about like, you know, pay me in equity and stuff like that. So like we would take like different stuff, George Foreman's grill, the deal structure with that. So things that were popular and people were already familiar with in pop culture, but then shifting it and drilling it down to our niche, which was, you know, business and dissecting the deal. So that's something that we actually has done and we still do to this day, even with Mondays. Like even every Monday there's some new pop culture topic that happens. Like Kanye gonna pretty much do something every single week. He's Elon. Elon and Kanye. Elon and Kanye, they're gonna do something every single week. So that's a very valuable gem that you just provided. Let me ask you this:
they call it audience hacking as well. So it's like specifically hacking into the audience of people looking for, say, the Beyonce content, and then they find you.
Interesting.
That's a way.
Especially on YouTube, because like if you put it in a title, search engines or hashtags on Instagram, you know when people are searching something, like right now, people are searching Kanye West White Lives Matter. That's trending. It's a trending topic, right? So it's like, all right, if you find a way to kind of flip that, and let's say that we did some content around that, but it's based around the business of Fashion Week and how he actually disrupted the whole fashion industry by doing that, and how much money he made and how much money other shows lost. But the general arcing is the White Lives Matter, but we're not spending too much time on that. But it's not like it's not like complete clickbait, because it is about that, but it's about something else. So that's definitely a valuable strategy for anybody that's creating content, for sure. Let me ask you this. You said something that was interesting. You said that the beauty brands, they pay a lot more than fashion brands. So you focus more your energy on that. So what are some of the best practices with working with brands? Like you said before, when you first started, you didn't know. So what do you know now that you didn't know? Like, what do you ask for? Do you ask for the budget? Do you ask, okay, what are my requirements? Do you ask, okay, I'm going to do a social media post and I'm going to do one post on my IG story? Like, what are some things that now you're seasoned that you know how to talk to corporate brands and kind of know what to expect going into it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so stage one is attracting them. So how do you make yourself appealing to the brand? So there's an element of using their product, talking about their product, having really high visuals or really high engagement already. That way they're going to find what you do, and you may even tag them in your content before they ever reach out to you to do content. So number one, you've attracted them. They now would email you. In the first instance, there's often a case of, would love to send you product, would love to meet up for coffee. A lot of them want to meet up in person just to get an idea of who you are. So I think that's still a very important thing to do. And the next phase is either working directly with them yourself or working through management. People do have their own, thoughts around that. But for me, I'm at the place where I still work with brands very directly. And usually they will give me a brief. I wouldn't do anything without a brief, because I want to know, what do you want? Do you want engagement? Do you want sales? Do you want awareness? Give me an idea of what you want and what's the product. And then off the back of that, we will then negotiate. But usually they will have what they want. They'll say, we want 1 stories, two TikToks, or 1 YouTube video, and here's our budget. So I can either agree to the budget, like the budget, or I can say, guys, this is actually my rate card. Can you meet up with my rate card? And then we will kind of, negotiate and work out what I can do with the deliverables. And I have to think about how much time I'm going to invest into the work, as well as the value of my audience as well.
This that Red Panda Anthem. Ian, what's up? This that Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good? Red Panda Anthem. Whole clip going up. I know they can't stand it.